O-Level Biology 5090, Chapter 19, Relationship of Organisms with One Another and with the Environment, Part 2, Nutrient Cycles in Ecosystem and Biodiversity. So first of all, we will discuss the nutrient cycles. The first type of nutrient cycle is the carbon cycle. And students, the source of energy from the outside of this ecosystem is sunlight. So green plants capture this sunlight for the process of photosynthesis. So as a result of this photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is used in this process of photosynthesis. And then as a result of photosynthesis, there is formation of carbohydrate plus oxygen. So oxygen is added into the environment and carbon dioxide is used for the process of photosynthesis. So these green plants are eaten by the animals. So when these animals and green plants respire, the carbon dioxide is added into the environment again. And when these plants and animals die, the process of decomposition takes place, and as a result of the decomposition, which takes place by the bacteria, and the decomposition is a process by which the nutrients are released into the soil. Now, the process of fossilization takes place by the death of these organisms, that is the plants and the animals. As a result, the fossil fuels are formed by billions of years, and then these fossil fuels are used into the industry as a fuel to run this industry and to do the different processes inside. And the combustion of these fossil fuels release the carbon dioxide into the air again. And the process of decomposition also releases carbon dioxide into this air. So in this way, there is only one way when carbon dioxide is used up from the environment by the plants, only for the process of photosynthesis. But all other processes, whether it is decomposition, whether it is respiration, whether it is combustion, all these processes help to add the carbon dioxide into the air. And so in this way, we can say the carbon dioxide is adding up into the environment due to less trees on this bird land. Next cycle is nitrogen cycle. In the nitrogen cycle, the green plants do the process of photosynthesis, and they store food in them in the form of starch, and these plants are eaten by the animals. So animals eat them, and again, these animals and plants, when they die, the process of decomposition takes place, and a result of decomposition, the nutrients and ions are released into the soil. And when these on the other hand, some plants which have root nodules, and there are some bacteria which are living in the root nodules, and they help in nitrogen fixation. So those bacteria which are present in the root nodules, they are called as nitrogen fixing bacteria. And these nitrogen fix bacteria helps to release the ammonium ions into the soil, and these nitrogen fixing bacteria fix the nitrogen into the air. And then due to ammonia which are formed into the soil, there are nitrifying bacteria. Then nitrifying bacteria will help to change the ammonium ions into the nitrite ions, and then into the nitrate ions by the help of these nitrifying bacteria, and then these nitrate ions are reduced to form the amino acids to make proteins into the body of these plants. And then denitrifying bacteria are also there in the soil, which change the nitrate ions into the nitrogen again. So in this way, different types of bacteria are involved in the nitrogen cycle, by which the nitrogen is exchanged into the air and into the animals and plants as well. Next process is decay and decomposition. Decomposition is that process by which the nutrients are released into the air. So the decomposition process of decomposition is performed by bacteria and fungi. Soil bacteria play an important role in bringing about decomposition of organic matter. The dead and decaying material, they change the organic material into simple inorganic molecules. They serve as double purpose in the first, and they act as scavengers, removing the harmful waste from the earth. So in this way, if there is uh, no bacteria in the soil, the process of decomposition will not take place. So as a result, the dead bodies will not be decomposed. If they are not decomposed, they will remain inside the soil, and we can see the dead bodies are everywhere. But the process of decomposition helps the to decompose the dead bodies, and in this way the important nutrients are released into the soil. Now secondly, they return to the soil as plant food. The dead bodies and waste of the both plants and animals are decomposed by the activities of the saprophytic bacteria, and uh, and bacillus have prototactic enzymes. So enzymes are there. uh, Bacteria and fungi release the enzymes. So these enzymatic enzymes are helpful to decompose the dead bodies. In consequence, a variety of elements of minerals of the earth such as carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, sulfur, and phosphorus, which make up their bodies, are reduced to simple compounds such as carbon dioxide, water, nitrates, sulfates, and phosphates. So in this way, we can say that decomposition is very important process, and bacteria or fungi perform this process of decomposition. They have enzymes which they secrete on the dead and decaying animals, and these enzymes helps to break down the organic material, and then those nutrients which are present in those dead and decaying bodies, they are released into the soil. Now the next, population. Population is group of individuals of the same species living at a place, and they can interbreed with one another. So population of uh, of human beings, population of animals, population of some mouse, population of some roses. So in this way, the different populations are actually a group of the individuals of the same species, and they can interbreed with one another. So population is consist of individuals of the same species living together and can reproduce with each other for the continuation of the species. In the next is the community. Community is actually when different populations interact with one another. So there can be the different populations of the organisms of the different species can are living at a place. We say that this is the community. So biological community is a collection of populations of the different species that interact with each other. So in a pond, there can be the insects, fish, algae, animals, plants, frogs, all live close enough to interact. So all they will made up the ecosystem of the pond. So in this way, the different populations are living in a pond. So they are interacting with one another. Ecosystem. Ecosystem is a community or group of living organisms that live in and interact with one another in a specific environment. So ecosystem, you can say the unit of environment, and the ecosystem, you can say it is made up of two components, the biotic components and abiotic components. Biotic components, all living organisms, whether they are animals and plants, they are included into bio biotic components, and uh, the abiotic components when there is no life. So soil, water, pH, um, temperature, all they will make up the abiotic components of the ecosystem. So in this way, ecosystem is made up of these two different types of components. And in ecosystem, abiotic and biotic interact factors will interact with one another. As for example, I would like to say the living organisms cannot live without water, they cannot live with the maintenance of the temperature, etc. And same is the case, there is no use of soil or there is no use of temperature and pH if there are no life on the earth. So in this way, the stable ecosystem needs all different types of organisms. As for example, the biotic or abiotic components should be present in an ecosystem, so the ecosystem will be a stable ecosystem. So biodiversity is the variety of life in an area that is determined by the number of different species in that area. So biodiversity means variation in a species which are or different species which are living on this earth by or in an ecosystem. So biodiversity, if there is biodiversity, if there are variations in an ecosystem, then it will increase the stability of an ecosystem and contributes to the health of the biosphere. But if there are no variations, there is no biodiversity, then there will not be the stable ecosystem. So if there is any change, all organisms, if they are not adapted to that change, they will die. So in this way, the whole ecosystem will be disturbed. So biodiversity play a vital role in the existence and in the stability of an ecosystem. So different types of species, they can survive. If one of them is having any problem or disease and not able to survive, but other species will survive in that ecosystem. So biodiversity is very important for the stability of an ecosystem. Biodiversity in all the different kinds of life you will find in one area, the variety of animals, plants, fungi, and even microorganisms like bacteria that make up our natural world. As you know, the life start with the producers and then consumers and then decomposers. All they play a vital role in the biodiversity, in the existence of the biodiversity or in the existence and stability of an ecosystem. Each of these species and organisms work together in ecosystem like an intricate web to maintain balance and support life. Biodiversity supports everywhere, everything in nature that we need to survive. Food we need, clean water we need, medicines we need, and shelter we need. So, but as human put increasing pressure on the planet, using and consuming more resources than even before, we risk upsetting the balance of ecosystems and losing biodiversity. But if we are pollution free, pollution free, then there will be the stability in the ecosystem. And due to pollution, we are losing the biodiversity, due to which we as someday we will be at the verge of extinction. Biotic factors which affecting the population size. Factors limiting population may vary from one population to other population, leading to the population changeover. Common biotic factors, as for example, food. Both the quantity and quality of the food are important. That is, in an ecosystem, food plays very important role. And food is there, the organisms will get energy. If the food is not there, there will be no energy. So the energy requirement will not be fulfilled when there is no food. So snails cannot reproduce successfully in an ecosystem low in calcium. So the different food nutrients are helpful to increase the stability of any ecosystem. So if there is no food, the organisms will not survive because they will not get energy, or they can have the different types of problems or diseases in them. So the predators, as a prey population becomes larger, predators may also, if the number of predators suddenly fall, then there may be eruptive increase in prey population. So there is a rule of an ecosystem. Prey and predations, they are, you can say, important for each other. So if there is no predation, so the number of prey will increase. And if there is no prey, the predators will die. So in this way, there will be an imbalance in the ecosystem. So which should not be produced. So there should be a genuine number of prey and predators. Competition. Other organisms may require the same resources from the environment and so reduce growth of population. So competition is present among the competitors. So the competitors can be the members of the same species or the members of the different species. Say they will compete for food, they will compete for shelter, they will compete for uh, food and shelter, and then they will compete for other necessities of their life, as for example, they for reproduction or mate. So in this way, when there is competition among them, if the plants are there, they will try to get the sunlight and water. So in this way, the predation, this competition will help to survive some species, and the other species which will not make changes according to the environment, they are not adapted to that environment, they will be, you can say, finished from that earth, or they will not be survive in the ecosystem. So parasites are those organisms which cause different diseases in organisms. Um, and in simply, I can say that which live at the expense of others, but as a result, they cause different types of diseases in them. So these may cause disease and slow down the growth and reproduction rate of organisms within a population. So in this way, the parasites are also helpful in affecting the population size or reducing the population size. Next, how does population growth impact the demand for resources? As you know, we are talking about the if the organisms are adapted according to the environmental changes, so they will survive. So human populations growth, if they are growing, they are surviving, then it impacts the earth systems in a variety of ways, as including increasing the extraction of resources from the environment. These resources include fossil fuels, oil, gas, coal, minerals, trees, water, and wildlife, especially in the oceans. So all these resources are demanded by the population if it is growing, if it is increasing in number. So increased population density in urban area places a higher demand for resources such as water. They need healthy water, they need pure water, they need energy, they need food, they need transport. So all these different, you can say, the factors are required by a population, or simply we can say the growing population. So city dwellers also tend to use more electronic devices, resulting in higher energy uses. So use of electronic devices or other resources is polluting our earth. So the organisms, they depend on different other types of, you can say, life saving uh, phenomena, or they are eating more processed food as well as produce more waste. So in this way, if they are eating so much food, they are producing so much waste. So in this way, the growing population, or the population which is growing, has an impact, or they are demanding for more resources. So they need more resources in every field of life, and in any moment of their life, they need different types of resources. And the most of them are the food, energy, and water. So all they are required, all they are demanded by a population. So these resources are becoming less day by day because of the more population and less resources are there in an ecosystem. So in this way, population growth impact the demand for resources. So it was all about the part 2. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.